Hallo, ich bin's, Robin, Deutschlehrer mit Core Languages, and today I'm walking around the neighborhood of Park Circle, and behind me is a high school, and it made me think of my high school days. When you were in high school, were you ever late for class? So when you got there, the class had already started? Or were you ever late for a movie or a theatrical production, a play? Or were you ever late for a work meeting? And when you got there, the movie or the play or the meeting had already started. Well, when I say things like something had already started, I'm using what's called the past perfect. The past perfect helps me talk about things in the past when I'm already talking about things in the past. For example, when I went to school, I got to the school, but the class had already started. The class is even further back in the past. In German, this is called the Plusquamperfekt. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to use the Plusquamperfekt so that you can use it in your German sentences. I would say los geht's und viel Spaß beim Deutschlernen.
The past perfect tense, das Plusquamperfekt. The past perfect, or das Plusquamperfekt in German, combines the simple past of the auxiliary verbs haben and sein with the past participles of main verbs. The tense is used the same way in English and in German, except that in English it is formed by only using to have as an auxiliary verb. Below are examples of one sentence in the simple past, and then that same sentence in the present perfect and the past perfect. Der Junge spielte Fußball. The boy played soccer. This sentence is in the simple past. Der Junge hat Fußball gespielt. The boy has played soccer. This sentence is in the present perfect, or das Perfekt. It is called the present perfect because the auxiliary verb haben, or to have, is conjugated in the present tense, hat and has. Der Junge hatte Fußball gespielt. The boy had played soccer is the past perfect because now haben, or to have, is conjugated in the simple past. I could make a sentence like Der Junge hatte Fußball gespielt, bevor schwimmen ging. The boy had played soccer before he went swimming. We use the past perfect, or das Plusquamperfekt, to talk about actions or events that occurred in the past first or before other actions in the past. So in other words, we're talking about an event in the past that happened before another event in the past. In a sentence, we would need a subject and then either hatten or waren, which are the simple past conjugations of haben and sein, and then the past participle. For example, zum Beispiel, nachdem ich Kaffee gebeten hatte, setzte die Frau Wasser auf. After I had asked for coffee, the woman put on some water. The event of putting on water is in the past, and even further in the past is me asking for coffee. In order to use the past participle correctly, we need to remember that the participle is different depending on the kind of verb that we're using. The past participle is formed in one of three ways. We add ge to the beginning and t to the end of the stem if the verb is regular. We add ge to the beginning of the stem, make stem changes, and end with en if the verb is irregular. We add ge to the beginning of the stem, change the stem and end with a T if the verb is mixed. Zum Beispiel, machen. Machen is a regular verb. We add ge and we add T. The stem doesn't change. The participle is gemacht. Der Junge hat die Hausaufgaben gemacht. The boy has done the homework. Finden is an irregular verb. It has a stem change and it ends on en. Finden, gefunden. Das Eichhörnchen hat Walnüsse gefunden. The squirrel has found walnuts. Bringen is a mixed verb. It has a stem change and it ends on t. Bringen, gebracht. Ich habe meine Kopfhörer gebracht. I have brought my headphones. To form the past perfect in German, we need the auxiliary verbs haben and sein. The difference between the present perfect and the past perfect is that for the past perfect, haben and sein needs to be conjugated in their simple past forms. Here's the conjugation of haben and sein in the simple past. Feel free to repeat. Ich hatte, du hattest, sie es hatte, sie hatten. Wir hatten, ihr hattet, sie hatten. Ich war, du warst, sie es war. Sie waren, wir waren, ihr wart, sie waren. Here are some examples of regular verbs in the past perfect. Notice that some use haben and some use sein in the simple past, but the translation in English will always be had done. Arbeiten. Ich hatte gearbeitet. I had worked. Reisen, to travel. Du warst gereist. You had traveled. Regnen, to rain. Es hatte geregnet. It had rained. Hören, to hear. Sie hatten gehört. You, sir, or you, ma'am, had heard. Rechnen, to calculate. Wir hatten gerechnet. We had calculated. Diskutieren, to discuss. Ihr hattet diskutiert. You had discussed. Bummeln, to stroll. Sie waren gebummelt. They had strolled. Notice that ihren never uses ge to form the past participle. The past participle of diskutieren is diskutiert. Here are some examples of irregular verbs in the past perfect. Notice that they form their past participle with ge, a stem change, and the ending en. Gehen, to go. Ich war gegangen. I had gone. Sehen, to see. Du hattest gesehen. You had seen. Sein, to be. War gewesen. He had been. Nehmen, to take. Sie hatten genommen. You, sir, or you, ma'am, had taken. Schwimmen, to swim. Wir waren geschwommen. We had swum. Helfen, to help. Ihr hattet geholfen. You had helped. Kommen, to come. Sie waren gekommen. They had come. Here are some examples of mixed verbs in the past perfect, and notice that they form their past participle with ge, a stem change, and then the ending t. Bringen, to bring. Ich hatte gebracht. I had brought. Kennen, to know. Du hattest gekannt. you had known. Brennen, to burn. Es hatte gebrannt. It had burned. Denken, to think. Sie hatten gedacht. You, sir, or you, ma'am, had thought. Wissen, to know. Wir hatten gewusst. We had known. Rennen, to run. Ihr wart gerannt. You had run. Nennen, to name. Sie hatten genannt. They had named. When forming the past participle, we need to remember that separable and inseparable prefix verbs form their past participle differently. Separable prefixes come before ge in the past participle, but inseparable prefixes do not allow ge at all. Here are some examples. Bekommen. The past participle of bekommen is bekommen. Bekommen is an inseparable prefix, so no ge is used. Einwandern is a separable prefix verb. Einwandern is to immigrate. Du warst eingewandert. The ge is placed between the separable prefix and the stem. Aufstehen is a separable prefix verb, to get up. The past participle of aufstehen is aufgestanden. Aufwachen, to wake up, is a separable prefix verb, and the past participle is aufgewacht. Fernsehen, to watch TV, is a separable prefix verb, so the past participle is ferngesehen. Vergessen, to forget, is an inseparable prefix verb, so the past participle does not have ge. Vergessen. Erlauben, to allow, is an inseparable prefix verb, so the past participle does not have ge. Erlaubt. Very often when making sentences in the past perfect, we use conjunctions because we're indicating a sequence in the past. Before something else happened, this happened. Or after this had happened, this happened. Common conjunctions to use with the past perfect are als, bevor, bis und nachdem. Remember that the earliest action or event in the clause is the one that is going to be using the past perfect. Zum Beispiel, nachdem wir ins Café gegangen waren, redeten wir über Politik. After we had gone to the cafe, we talked about politics. Sie hatten Karten gespielt, bis die Sonne aufging. They had played cards until the sun came up. Look at the following two pictures and sentences and form the past perfect with wissen or lernen. Sie, schon letzte Woche, dass die Prüfung gestern war. The correct verb is wissen, and wissen in the past perfect is hatten gewusst. Sie hatten schon letzte Woche gewusst, dass die Prüfung gestern war. They had already known last week that the exam was yesterday. Without context, sie, of course, could also mean she, in which case it would be sie hatte schon letzte Woche gewusst. Ich, Deutsch, bevor ich nach Deutschland ging. The correct verb is lernen, and lernen in the past perfect is ich hatte Deutsch gelernt, bevor ich nach Deutschland ging. I had learned German before I went to Germany. This example, choose the correct auxiliary verb to complete this sentence in the past perfect. Ihr hattet keine Zeit, nachdem das Baby gekommen war or hatte. The verb kommen uses to be or sein to form the past perfect and the present perfect. Because this sentence needs to be in the past perfect, we need to use war. You had no time after the baby had come. And how about this example? Choose the correct participle of the verb einschlafen, to fall asleep. Wir waren schon einschlaft or eingeschlafen, als es Donnerwetter gab. The correct participle for einschlafen is eingeschlafen. We had already fallen asleep when there were thunderstorms.
Vielen Dank fürs Zusehen. I hope you now have a better understanding of how to use the past perfect or the Plusquamperfekt in German. As always, if you have more questions, feel free to comment, or if you're interested in joining one of our German courses with a live instructor, feel free to message us directly. Das war's, vielen Dank und bis zum nächsten Mal.